Amara was 7 months old when her mother noticed something that made her stomach drop. Every morning without fail, the baby would sit in her high chair and stare, not at a toy, not at food, at her mother, directly into her eyes, unblinking, for minutes at a time. Her mother tried everything. She waved a rattle. She turned on cartoons. She moved across the room. But Amara kept staring, locked on, silent. Her mother told herself it was nothing. Babies stare at things. That is what babies do. But this felt different. It felt deliberate, as though the baby was trying to reach her through the silence between them. She searched the internet that night after Amara fell asleep. She typed one sentence into the search bar. "Why does my baby stare at me without blinking?" The results made her chest go tight. Every single one mentioned autism. Every single one made it sound like a warning. She barely slept. She replayed every moment from that morning. The way Amara's eyes had followed her across the kitchen. The way her small body had gone completely still while those wide, dark eyes locked forward. The next day, she called her pediatrician. She described the staring, the silence, the way the baby seemed frozen in place while watching her. The doctor asked one question that changed everything she understood about her daughter. This is not what most parents expect to hear. The information in this video is for educational purposes. Every child develops at their own pace. If you have concerns about your baby, always speak with a qualified pediatrician or developmental specialist first. The doctor did not say something was wrong. She said something was working. That long, focused gaze your baby gives you across a room is not emptiness. It is one of the most sophisticated things a baby's brain can do, and most parents have no idea what it actually means. They see the stare, and they panic. They see the silence and assume something is missing. But what is actually happening in that moment is the opposite of what fear tells you. Your baby is not staring at nothing. Your baby is building something. What they are building with that gaze is the foundation of every relationship they will ever have in their entire life. Every friendship, every partnership, it all begins here in the high chair, in the quiet morning, in the stare. That is not cute behaviour you can scroll past. That is a developmental milestone happening in real time, and most parents walk right through it without knowing what their baby was actually doing. Amara's mother did not know this. She had spent the whole night terrified. She had convinced herself something was broken. But the truth was far more important than anything she had found on the internet. Because when your baby stares at you, they are not just looking. They are reading you, scanning your face the way a scientist studies data, pulling meaning from your expression, your tone, your posture, your breathing, and they are doing it on purpose, not randomly. A 7-month-old is deliberately choosing to lock their gaze on your face because your face is the single most important source of information in their world. That is what the stare is, not a glitch, not a warning sign. It is your baby running the most complex software their brain has ever attempted, and it is happening right there in the high chair at breakfast. But here's where things get difficult. Parents are not taught what to do when this happens. Nobody explains the stare. Nobody tells you that the silence is actually a conversation. And so you react the way fear teaches you. You break the gaze, you wave something shiny in front of their face. You look away first because the intensity makes you uncomfortable. And in doing that, you interrupt the most important thing your baby is learning how to do. You interrupt their attempt to understand you. That is what Amara's mother nearly did. She nearly treated a sign of intelligence like a symptom of illness. And she is not alone. Thousands of parents every week search the internet for answers about their baby's gaze. They type those frightened questions at 2 in the morning, while their baby sleeps peacefully in the next room. Most never find the real answer. They find lists and opinions. But they do not find the mechanism. They do not find out what is actually happening behind those wide, unblinking eyes. That is what this video is going to give you. The mechanism. The real science behind the stare. What your baby's brain is doing when they lock eyes with you. What changes in their neural wiring every time that gaze holds for longer than a few seconds? And most importantly, what you should do when it happens. Because your response in that moment is not neutral. Your response to your baby's stare is actively shaping the architecture of their developing brain every single time it happens. Amara's doctor explained all of this in one appointment. But it took months for her mother to truly understand, and by the time she did, she realized she had been misreading her daughter's most important signal since the day she was born. So here is what your baby is actually doing when they stare at you. And once you understand this, you will never want to break that gaze again. You will want to answer it. The first thing most parents get wrong is the reason behind the stare. They assume the baby is looking because something caught their eye. But that is not what infant gaze research shows. When your baby stares at your face, they are not responding to novelty. They are responding to meaning. A newborn can see clearly only within 8 to 12 inches from their face. Everything beyond that is a blur, but that range is exactly the distance between a baby's eyes and their mother's face during feeding. That is not coincidence. That is evolution designing a system built around one thing: connection. Your baby's vision is built to find your face. Their brain is wired from birth to seek out the pattern of two eyes, a nose and a mouth. Researchers have shown that newborns prefer face-shaped patterns over every other visual stimulus they are shown, even within the first hours of life, before they can focus properly, before they can track a moving object, before they can distinguish colors. They already know what a face looks like, and they already prefer it over anything else in the room. They will stare at a drawing of a face longer than they stare at a scrambled version of the same features. Here is what is actually happening in your baby's brain during that stare. Their visual cortex is firing, their social brain is activating, and a region called the fusiform face area is beginning to specialize in reading human expressions for the rest of their life. That is the mechanism. That stare is not passive observation, it is active construction. Your baby is building the part of their brain responsible for understanding other human beings, and they are using your face as the blueprint. Amara's mother did not understand this. She saw the staring and assumed the baby was stuck. She thought it was a sign that something in the wiring was off. But the opposite was true. The fact that Amara could hold a gaze that long at 7 months was a sign that her social brain was developing beautifully. The length of the stare was not a symptom, it was a strength. And this is the part most parents never hear. The stare is not one thing. There are several distinct types of infant gaze, and each one means something completely different. The first type is the recognition gaze. This is when your baby locks eyes with you and holds the stare, because they are confirming who you are. Matching your face to the template they have been building since birth. You see this most often first thing in the morning or after a separation. Your baby wakes up, finds your face and stares. They are not spaced out. They are making sure their most important person is still there. The second type is the learning gaze. This is when your baby watches your expression change while you talk or react. They are studying how your face moves, mapping which expressions go with which emotions. This gaze often worries parents because the baby looks so serious. They are not upset. They are concentrating. Their brain is running a pattern recognition exercise more complex than most adults consciously attempt in a day. The third type is the social referencing gaze. This one usually appears around 8 or 9 months. Your baby encounters something unfamiliar, and they immediately look at your face before they react. They are not just looking for comfort. They are looking for instruction. Reading your expression to decide whether this new thing is safe or dangerous. Your face in that moment is their survival manual. Your expression tells them what to feel next, and they are reading it faster than you can deliberately compose it. Amara was doing exactly this. Every time she stared across the room, she was asking a question. Is this safe? Are you calm? Should I be afraid? And her mother's face was the only answer she trusted. The fourth type is the bonding gaze, the long quiet stare during feeding or rocking, or those still moments before anyone else is awake. This gaze triggers the release of oxytocin in both baby and parent. It is a chemical bonding event disguised as eye contact. When your baby holds your eyes during this stare, their brain is physically strengthening the attachment between you, and here is where the misread becomes truly costly. When a parent breaks this gaze, when they reach for their phone or turn away, they are not just ending a moment, they are interrupting a neurochemical process. That does not mean every broken gaze causes damage. Babies are resilient. One missed moment does not change the trajectory, but a pattern of missed moments does. A habit of looking away when your baby is looking at you does shift things over time, and this is what nobody tells new parents. The single most powerful developmental tool you have costs nothing, requires no products, no apps, no classes. It is simply looking back when your baby looks at you. That is the whole thing. The stare is an invitation, and your job is to accept it, not to redirect it, not to entertain through it, just to be there, present, looking back. Amara's mother eventually learned this, but it took weeks for the fear to leave. She had spent so long convinced the stare was a warning that she struggled to see it as what it actually was, a gift. A 7-month-old baby choosing her mother's face as the most important object in the visible world, because that baby had already learned that her mother's face meant safety. And that should stop you, because your baby has already been watching you longer than you realized. Long before you noticed the stare had already begun, from the first feed, from the first hold. From that blurry 8-inch distance in the delivery room, your baby was already gathering data about who you are, building the map that would guide their emotional life for years. So when parents say my baby just started staring, that is almost never accurate. The parent finally noticed something the baby had been doing since day one. The stare did not begin recently. Your attention to it did, and that distinction matters enormously. Because if you believe the stare just started, you go searching for a problem that does not exist and you miss the truth right in front of you. Your baby has been talking to you this entire time. With their eyes. With every long, silent look across the room. The only question is whether you have been listening. If you are finding value in this, subscribe now. Now, here's where everything gets rewritten. The stare is not just a bonding tool, not just a communication method. What researchers discovered in the last decade goes far deeper than connection alone. The infant gaze is a brain-building mechanism, not metaphorically, literally. Every time your baby locks eyes with you, measurable changes occur inside their developing brain in real time. Neural pathways between the visual cortex and prefrontal cortex strengthen. The region responsible for reading emotion starts to specialize, and a process called neural synchronization begins between your brain and your baby's brain simultaneously. That last part is worth pausing on. When a baby and parent hold mutual gaze, their brain waves begin to synchronize. The electrical patterns in the baby's brain start to mirror the patterns in the parent's brain. This is not a theory, this has been measured, and the implications are staggering. Your emotional state during the stare is not just felt by your baby, it is absorbed, mirrored, copied at the level of neural firing patterns. If you are calm, your baby's brain receives a pattern of calm. If you are anxious, their brain receives anxiety. The stare is downloading your emotional state directly into their developing nervous system. Amara's mother heard this from the pediatrician, and it stopped her cold. She thought about all the mornings she had been stressed, all the times on her phone, all the moments she had looked away because she was distracted, and she realized something painful. The stare was never the problem. Her response was the variable that mattered. The baby was always going to look. That part was automatic. But what the baby found when she got there, whether her mother was present or distracted, calm or anxious, that shaped what the baby's brain did with the information. This is the mechanism most parenting advice ignores. They tell you to talk to your baby, read books, sing songs, play with colourful toys. All of that is valuable. But none of it matters more than this: the mutual silent gaze, the most powerful developmental interaction available in the first year, and it requires nothing except your undivided presence the moment your baby looks for you. And here is the inversion. Everything you were told about stimulation, about keeping your baby entertained, about filling their world with sounds and colours, all of that accidentally trained you to do the opposite of what the gaze requires. The gaze requires stillness. It requires quiet. It requires you to stop performing and simply be present. Modern parenting culture has made that almost impossible because it teaches you that good parents are always doing something, always stimulating, always teaching, always performing engagement. But the research says the most impactful moments are the ones where you do nothing except look back, hold still. Let your baby's brain complete the connection it is trying to make. That is what Amara needed, not a rattle, not a screen. She needed her mother's calm face to stay exactly where it was, while her brain finished processing the information it was pulling from that gaze. And every time her mother broke the gaze, the process restarted. The baby had to find her face again, re-establish the lock, re-engage synchronization. The interruption had a real cost. Now there is a critical distinction here. The stare that signals healthy development looks different from the type that warrants a pediatrician conversation. Healthy developmental staring involves a baby locking eyes with a caregiver, holding the gaze, then eventually breaking it on their own. They look away, they come back. They look at your face, then glance at something else, then return. That cycle is called gaze alternation. It is one of the most important early markers of healthy social development. A baby who can look at you, then look away, then come back, is practicing a skill they will use forever. What pediatricians watch for is the absence of this cycle. A baby who avoids eye contact altogether across multiple settings and multiple caregivers. A baby who does not track faces or follow movement. A baby showing no preference for looking at people over objects by 6 months of age. That pattern, the absence of social gaze interest, is what warrants further assessment. Staring at your face is almost always a positive sign. Avoiding your face consistently over time is what warrants concern, and this is the permission most parents need. If your baby is staring at you, that is their brain working beautifully. That is connection happening the way evolution designed it. You do not need to fix it. You do not need to Google it at 2 in the morning. You need to look back and let it happen. Because a 7-month-old who locks eyes with you across a room is performing a feat of cognitive processing involving their visual cortex, social brain, and emotional regulation system all at once. That baby is reading your micro-expressions, detecting the difference between a genuine smile and a forced one, noticing whether your eyebrows are relaxed or tight, scanning for danger without knowing the word. And they are doing all of this in silence, without language, without instruction. They arrived already equipped with the tools to read you. Your face is the textbook they were born holding. Amara's mother cried when she understood this, not from sadness, from relief. Because for weeks she had carried the weight of believing something was wrong, and the truth was that everything was exactly right. The stare was not a symptom, it was a celebration. Her daughter's brain reaching across the room saying, "I see you. I trust you. I am building my entire understanding of humans by watching your face right now." Once she understood that everything changed, the mornings stopped being frightening, the gaze stopped being something to fix, it became something to meet. Something to return with calm, steady presence. That is the turning point. And what comes next is the part most parents never reach. What to actually do the moment your baby locks eyes with you. Here is what to do when your baby stares. I need you to understand how simple this is because your instinct will tell you it is too easy. There is not more to it. When your baby locks eyes with you, do 4 things. First, stop what you're doing, just pause, put down the phone, set down the spatula, let your body go still. Second, look back, match their gaze. Not like a contest. Just meet their eyes the way you would meet the eyes of someone you love who is trying to tell you something important. Third, soften your face. Relax your forehead. Let your mouth settle into something warm. You do not need to perform happiness. Just remove tension. Your baby is reading every muscle in your face, and tension reads as danger. Fourth, wait. Do not speak immediately. Let the gaze hold for a few seconds before you say anything. That silence is where neural synchronization happens. That silence is doing more than any word you could choose. Then when the moment feels right, speak gently. Say something simple. I see you. There you are. Hello, beautiful girl. The words matter less than the warmth in your voice and the steadiness of your gaze while you say them. That is the whole protocol. Stop, look, soften, wait, then speak from calm recognition. Not performance, not distraction. Just one human being acknowledging another who is trying to connect with them across a quiet room. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be present more often than you are absent. Amara's mother started doing this the week after her appointment. She would catch the stare from across the kitchen, and instead of waving a rattle, she would just stop, look back, wait. And the first time she truly held the gaze without breaking it, Amara smiled. Not a reflex smile, a real deliberate smile that pulled across her entire face and crinkled her eyes and made her whole body wiggle. Her mother nearly fell apart, because that smile told her that her daughter had been waiting for exactly this, for her mother to simply look back and stay. That is what the stare is asking for. Presence, not perfection, just you. Sitting still, looking back. Being the calm, steady face your baby is designed to search for. Now there are moments the stare means something else. When your baby stares at a stranger, they are running a comparison, holding that unfamiliar face against the template they built from yours and checking for differences. When your baby stares at a new object, they are processing novelty. Their brain is deciding whether this fits any existing category. If it does not, the stare gets longer because processing takes more time. When your baby stares into space, they are not dissociating. In most cases, they are simply resting. Their brain has taken in so much visual and emotional information that it needs a moment to pause and consolidate before it can absorb anything more. Think of it as a buffer. The system is not broken. It is processing. All of these are completely normal. Signs of a brain working as it should. They require understanding, not intervention or correction. A parent who knows what they are looking at instead of fearing what they see. And here's the last piece. Your baby's gaze is also shaping how they handle stress for the rest of their early childhood. When your baby encounters something distressing, a sudden noise, a fall, they immediately look for your face. That is social referencing. What they find on your face determines their entire stress response. If they find calm, their cortisol stabilizes, their breathing steadies, their body relaxes. They have received a signal from the person they trust most that says this is manageable. You are safe. I am here. We are going to be fine. If they find panic, their cortisol spikes, their breathing accelerates, their body tenses. They have received a signal that says something is wrong. Be afraid. And their nervous system responds accordingly, even if there is no actual threat present in the room. This is why the stare matters more than anyone tells you. It is not just bonding, it is regulation. Your face is your baby's external nervous system until they develop the capacity to regulate their own emotions internally, and that capacity takes years. Which means for years your baby, then your toddler, then your young child will look at your face before they decide how to feel about almost anything that happens. You are their emotional reference point. The stare that starts in the high chair at 7 months is the beginning of a system that will govern their emotional responses for years. Amara's mother understood this eventually, and it changed everything. Not because she became perfect, but because she stopped treating the stare like a problem. and started treating it like the most important conversation she would ever have. She looked back, every time. She softened her face. She held still. She let the silence work. And Amara did exactly what she had been trying to do since birth. She connected. Here's what stays with me. Amara's mother almost missed it. She almost turned that gaze into a diagnosis. She almost replaced the most powerful connection tool in her daughter's development with a referral, and she would not have been wrong to seek help. Seeking guidance is never a mistake, but she would have been solving a problem that did not exist while missing the gift right in front of her every single morning. The stare is not something to fear. It is something to receive. Your baby is choosing you over every toy and every sound and every flashing light in the room. They are choosing your face because your face means everything to them. It is the center of their world. It is the one thing they searched for before they could even see clearly, and the only thing they are asking you to do is stay. Not forever, not without interruption. Just stay more than you leave. Look back more than you look away. Be there more often than you are distracted. That is not perfection. That is enough. That is everything your baby's brain needs from you right now. The information shared in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you're concerned about your baby's development, please consult a qualified pediatrician or developmental specialist who can assess your child individually. Amara is 2 years old now. She talks constantly. She laughs at the dog. She climbs furniture with terrifying confidence. And every now and then in a quiet moment she still locks eyes with her mother from across the room and holds the gaze. Not because something is wrong, because she learned in her very first year of life that her mother's face meant safety. And that lesson burned into her neural architecture during those silent morning stares will travel with her for a lifetime. So the next time your baby stares at you, do not panic. Do not search the internet. Do not wave a rattle. Look back. Because that baby is doing exactly what they were designed to do, and they are waiting for you. If this changed how you see your baby stare, tell me. Leave a comment and answer this. What does your baby stare at the most, and how long do they hold it? I want to hear your stories because every baby's gaze is unique and worth understanding. And if you want to keep learning what your baby is really telling you through their everyday behaviors, subscribe to this channel.